Chilling timeline: how a terrorist scoped out a kill zone in New Orleans. The FBI on Sunday released new details about 42-year-old Shamsud-Din Jabbar, the man authorities say carried out the deadly New Year's Day terrorist attack in New Orleans, including his movements in and out of the country and the preparations he took immediately prior to the attack. Jabbar, who authorities said acted alone in the attack on Bourbon Street that killed 14 people, had traveled to Cairo, Egypt, from June 22 to July 3, 2023, before flying to Ontario, Canada, and returning to the U.S. a few days later, the FBI said during a press conference. Jabbar also made at least 2 trips to New Orleans in October and November prior to the deadly attack and recorded video of Bourbon Street with Meta smart glasses. Our agents are getting answers to where he went, who he went with, and how those trips may or may not tie into his actions here, said Lyonel Myrthil, FBI special agent in charge of the New Orleans field office. While it remains unclear whether those trips were connected to the attack, FBI Deputy Assistant Director Christopher Reyes said the agency is investigating whether Jabbar had any associates in the U.S. or overseas. All investigative details and evidence that we have now still support that Jabbar acted alone here in New Orleans, said Reyes. We have not seen any indications of an accomplice in the United States, but we are still looking into potential associates in the U.S. and outside of our borders. Jabbar, an Army veteran from Houston, plowed a rented Ford pickup through a crowd of Bourbon Street revelers in the attack that officials say was inspired by the Islamic State. Dozens of others were injured in the truck attack and Jabbar was killed in a shootout with police. He was wearing Meta glasses at the time of the vehicle attack, but did not activate the glasses to live stream his actions that day, according to Myrthil. The FBI recovered a black ISIS flag from the rented truck and found that Jabbar pledged allegiance to ISIS in online videos posted hours before the attack. Jabbar also set a fire on Mandeville Street before heading to Bourbon Street, which was later speculated to be a distraction before he carried out the attack. Jabbar purchased ice chests in Texas on December 31, 2024, that he used to hide IEDs before entering Louisiana and going to a home that he rented, officials said. Hours later, in the early morning of January 1, 2025, Jabbar placed IEDs at 2 locations. New video released by the FBI shows him placing one of the chests at Bourbon and St. Peter Street and a second at Bourbon and Toulouse Streets. Officials said he botched the detonation of the devices during his attack. He didn't have access to a detonator, so he used an electric match in its place to try to set off the explosive material, said Joshua Jackson, ATF special agent in charge of the New Orleans Field Division. It's not novel. What was different is he didn't use the right or the correct device to set it off. And that is just indicative of his inexperience and lack of understanding of how that material might be set off. The New Orleans coroner's office has identified all 14 victims, with the youngest listed as 18 and the oldest 63. Most of the victims were in their 20s.